I'm Trish Norris from Little Rock, Arkansas. Well, my family, I have two sons, Jason and Joshua. They primarily grew up in Redfield, Arkansas. The best way to describe Joshua, he came here very happy, adventuresome, just explored life. Everything he did it big and he loved it. His older brother, from the day he was born, he adored him. And he would try to keep Joshua between the lines and watch after him. I started recognizing there was a problem with Joshua when he was about 13 and a half years old. He began to change his friends. He began to not want to be in the gifted and talented program anymore. He thought that was nerdy. He started not coming home at night, or he would be late. He would pass curfews. We started noticing when we would leave to go out, it looked like maybe he had been having a party there. There would be things, liquor cabinet would, we noticed that somebody had been in the liquor cabinet. And it just escalated from there. Joshua told me somewhere along the way, I was worried, really worried about drugs, and he said, "Mom, my drug of choice is alcohol." He was getting in trouble more and more with the police, and so I decided to try a treatment center. I thought I would die from the pain of having sent him there, and it was Thanksgiving, and he said, "Mom, I'm going to loathe you for the rest of my life for this." But as Josh would, with his personality, he began to really like it there. I mean, he liked the friends, he had fun, but he never stopped being Joshua. He got in trouble there. Sure enough, that all played out in the school in Arizona, and they kicked him out of that school before he graduated high school. So I quickly got him enrolled back in Whitehall High School, where all of his friends were, and by the hair of his chinny chin and his great brain, he made it. He just continued to drink and get more DWIs, wrecked his car, I can't tell you how many times. He was running with his friends, and they broke into a house, and he found keys in the house with an automobile that was still there. So he took the automobile and went for a joyride and was arrested and was charged with grand larceny theft. Went to prison for 6 months. And during that time, it was good and bad. It was a wonderful time, actually, in some ways, because we would sit together and just talk. And he had hopes of coming out and doing big things again. And he did come out, and he enrolled in college again. His grandmother enrolled him in college this time, up in Conway, Arkansas. And he was doing well, and started back with his friends again, just couldn't not party. And he borrowed his brother's motorcycle without asking and went for a ride. He'd been out drinking all night and had a motorcycle wreck. He was in the hospital there, unconscious for 3 days. We didn't know if he'd ever come back. Took him by ambulance to the medical center at UAMS in Little Rock, Arkansas, and he finally started coming to. And the doctors told us, but he wasn't himself. Of course, he didn't really know what had happened. I was so afraid that he had lost his joy, that joyful little personality, and it began to come back. And so I had him back. I helped him with his leg. He got a job, was working, started going back out with friends. 40 days later, that evening we went to bed, thought he was home for the evening, woke up the next morning, and he'd gone out. They drank, of course, they were drinking, borrowed a friend's car, and thank God he was alone. I went to get something from the store, it didn't make the curve, hit a tree. The truck he was driving burned up, and so did Joshua. So I didn't know. I didn't know. In fact, I was in an Al-Anon meeting. The door opened, and I called to Joshua. I thought, well, he's come home. And I said, Joshua, I just called to him. And when I opened the door, it was my husband standing there against the wall trying to tell me that he'd been killed. And my brain couldn't take it in right then. But the hardest, the very, very hardest part was not just my pain, but watching his brother's pain and not being able to help him. It hurts every day watching him miss his brother. And so it is with me, with all of us, with all of our family. Every day of our life, we miss him. We remember what he left with us, which was the joy. But there's never a day that he's not missed. I believe that if Joshua had a second chance, he would be here telling him, hey man, don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.